Psalm 52 is a psalm of David, and it's a contemplation of David when Doeg the Edomite went and told Saul and said to him, David has gone to the house of Ahimelech. Now this morning, if I may, I want to bring some context to this before we read the psalm, because we can see how the word is all connected and is one, and one message is related to something else that happened. So in 1 Samuel chapter 21 and verse 1 to 9, it says, Now David came to Nob, to Ahimelech the priest. Ahimelech was afraid when he met David and said to him, Why are you alone and no one is with you? So David said to Ahimelech the priest, The king has ordered me on some business and said to me, Do not let anyone know anything about the business on which I sent you or what I have commanded you, and I have directed my young men to such a place. Now therefore, what have you on hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or whatever can be found. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread on hand, but there is holy bread. If the young men have at least kept themselves from women. Then David answered the priest and said to him, Truly, women have been kept from us about 3 days since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in effect common, even though it was consecrated in the vessels this day. So the priest gave him holy bread, for there was no bread there but the showbread which had been taken from before the Lord, in order to put hot bread in its place on the day when it was taken away. Now, this is the key. Now, a certain man of the servants of Saul was there that day, detained before the Lord, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite. And remember the Edomites from Esau, the chief of the herdsmen who belonged to Saul. And David said to Ahimelech, Is there not here on hand a spear or a sword? For I have brought neither my sword nor my weapons with me, because the king's business required haste. So the priest said, The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Elah. There it is, wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you will take that, take it, for there is no other except that one there. And David said, There is none like it, give it to me. Okay, then there's a report back to Saul, and that's in 1 Samuel chapter 22, verses 6 to 23. So I'm not going to read it all, but basically now they're questioning this Ahimelech and all his family. And Saul obviously is livid. And Saul is talking to the Benjamites, and then he promises them all things to try and be loyal to him. But then at the end of the day, he orders the death of this priest and his family. And none of the priests of Israel or the servants of the king in this regard would not lift their hands to strike the priests of the Lord. So then the king turned to this Doeg and says, Kill the priests. So Doeg the Edomite turned and struck the priest and killed on that day 85 men who wore a linen ephod, the dress of the priests. And also Nob, the city of the priests, he struck with the edge of the sword. So he destroyed the city, both men and women, children and nursing infants, babies. So there's definitely a spirit of murder in this person. Oxen and donkeys and sheep with the edge of the sword. And then, now one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. And Abiathar told David that Saul had killed the Lord's priests. And then David goes on and says, Stay with me, you'll be safe, because the same person is hunting both of us. Now to the psalm again. And this is addressed to Doeg. Why do you boast in evil, O mighty man? The goodness of God endures continually. Your tongue devises destruction, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. You love evil more than good, lying rather than speaking righteousness. Selah. You love all devouring words, you deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy you forever. He shall take you away and pluck you out of your dwelling place, and uproot you from the land of the living. Selah. The righteous also shall see and fear, and shall laugh at him, saying, Here is the man who did not make God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. And then I suppose David's talking about himself here. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of the Lord. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise you forever, because you have done it. And in the presence of your saints, I will wait on your name, for it is good.